Ohayo gozaimasu. I have with me right here Pastor Tomo Yamanaka, and he's from Kyoto, Japan. So how are you today?
Good, thank you
Pastor?
very much. Thank you, Nelson.
And as we begin our talk this morning,
Yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself
Okay.
and what you're doing here in Malawi?
Yes, gladly. I'm from Japan,
Right.
Kyoto City, Japan. My name is Tomo Yamanaka. I'm a pastor of a church in Kyoto. We started a church about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
6 years ago, and we're one of the newest church in Kyoto.
Right.
And yeah, it's been going well. It's been an exciting journey. And the reason I'm here in Milan is to participate EE Congress 2016.
Right.
What do I say?
What is EE for those who do not know what EE is?
Okay, very good.
And how do you end up being in this ministry?
Okay. Well, because I took EE many years ago to the USA,
Right.
and I found it very effective,
Right.
even to reach to the modern Japanese people. We have seen many other way to reach to non-Christian people, but I find it's very effective because EE is very logical,
Right.
very rational, and respectful to non-Christian people.
I see.
And my heart is always for non-Christian people who don't know anything about Bible and Christ, because I came out from that kind of family.
I see. Now, Japan is not known to be a Christian nation, and in fact, the percentage of believers in Japan is kind of something like around 0.7%. Is that right? So my question is, how do you end up being a believer in Jesus Christ? Can you share a little bit about that?
Okay. Let me see. Okay. I'm from a very non-Christian background family, and we were actually okay. Yeah, my father was very alcoholic when I was a child, and we ended up really broken. So it was horrible when I was a child. My family, they went through a lot of pain, sadness. But one day, someone from USA, this old lady, missionary, shared the Christ to my older sister.
Right.
And that was the beginning of new change in my family. And it brought a lot of joy to my family. So, yeah, it just caused a huge change.
Right.
So I always appreciate what God has done to my family. So I like to see same things happens to other non-Christian family. So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm more prone to reach into non-Christian people.
Okay.
Of course, believers, Christian, I love to see them grow, but faith have to come from the hearing. So yeah. So that's why I like to reach to non-Christian people, and I find it super effective.
Okay. And are you right now pastoring a church and running the ministry of EE at the same time in Japan?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how has the ministry of evangelism been effective for you in Japan?
Yes. He is still very new to most Japanese people, Japanese church. About 2008, I have 2007 I have contacted EE headquarters in USA because I was already pastoring another church.
Right.
The church in Kyoto is a third church me and my wife started. So 15 years ago, we started ministry, and at the first church I was already equipped to do personal evangelism because of EE, but I had not adapted the EE ministry in newly planted a church. So basically, I was the only one running around,
I see.
chasing after non-Christian people. But it was still effective. We saw a lot of people coming to know Christ, but just those new believers were not growing. So after a couple of years, I heard Dr. D. James Kennedy died, and that was 2007. And the church was growing, but people are not growing. So when I heard this obituary, Dr. James Kennedy died, I decided, I contacted headquarters and if they had Japanese material.
Right.
And I wanted to see if material in Japanese, material available.
Right.
And they returned to me, said there's no availability today. So I had to start from translating, and so that's what happened.
I see.
Yes.
And would you say that personal evangelism is a very effective tool or method
I
as
believe
far as
so.
reaching people through friendships?
Yes. Yeah, I
Yes.
believe so.
Can you talk about one particular incident when you have shared the gospel and you've been successful in winning the person over to Christ?
Okay. You mean how effective it is?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
can you
Yes.
remember of one particular
Okay,
incident?
one
when you did that?
particular incident. I had this there's so many
Memorable ones?
amazing testimonies.
For sure. Yeah.
Each one of them a miracle.
Right.
Gospel. Many people think we have to add something upon the gospel in order to draw their attention.
Right.
But slowly, the gospel, when you present the gospel in a way that makes sense to people, people do pay attention to this story. And so that's the secret of success of EE in and among the Japanese, I think. And one of the memorable incident was this: when I was when I just started an EE ministry in Yokohama. There's one particular person came to our church, and he was a mathematic teacher.
Right.
Yeah, and his wife actually first came to our church, and she approached to me asking that if I would do a counseling for her husband.
Right.
Because her husband was sick a little bit, and she wanted to see if I could counsel her husband. And so I agreed to do the counseling for her husband. And so she brought her husband to me one day, and he was very seriously depressed.
Okay.
Mentally very sick. And she explained to me that he was sometime in mental hospital. He was very suicidal, and so they were desperate. So the counseling session started, and he never was exposed to this kind of worldview. So he became better and better little by little. And one day this gentleman said, Pastor Tomo, I want to know what you are doing, whatever the EE thinks.
Right.
And he said he wanted to take this EE class in Yokohama. But I said to him, because I said to him that let's take a little bit of time. Don't do this everything at the same time. So he was a little bit disappointed, but because I said to him, because it's a lot to work, a lot to memorize. So I said, let's try next time. But he was a little bit disappointed, and he went back to home and then shared this to his wife, and how disappointed he was. to hear that I said no. So she called me late night, said, Pastor Tomo, please let him do this. And I said, okay.
In the EE training?
EE training.
Okay.
So I said to her, okay, if he really wants to take EE class, he may. But one condition, you, wife, needs to sit next to him. So I agreed to let them take EE class. So they both started taking EE, but sure enough, it was a lot to him.
Right.
So during the class, he was dozing off because he was taking antidepressant medicine.
Right.
So, but they kept coming.
That's good.
They did a little bit of homework, and I think that was a 5th or 6th week after the starting of the semester. Very late night, this couple called me, and over the phone, the wife was crying. You know, when somebody who is depressed call pastor in late night, that scares me. You know, I thought, oh my, he must have killed himself something. But over the phone, she was crying, but the report was very different. She said this couple just led very good friend, long time, to Christ. And they explained to me the story and how this old friend, good friend, listened to their story and their presentation of the gospel and humbly accepted Christ with tears. And so the following Sunday, this couple came to church with bursting joy in the face.
Wow.
Particularly this husband, he was always quiet, but he was beaming. And he grabbed me in the lapel and the pastor, you gotta listen to this story, how I and my wife were able to lead this particular friend to Christ. And he was so happy, sharing a lot of stories with us. And the story did not stop here. This guy, see, he was taking more than 10 antidepressant pills every day, including the sleeping aid, everything. But from that very day, his depression
was gone?
Not instantly, but slowly,
gradually.
Right. And he still, went to see doctor, but doctor was surprised
at his improvement.
Yeah, because of the improvement, and then gradually he just didn't need any medicine anymore.
That's awesome. In fact, the gospel is the power of God.
See, what happened is when he became depressed, he explained to me this way. He was teaching the math in the class.
Yeah.
He was teaching like a senior class of the high school.
Right.
They were all preparing to go into the college entrance exam. It's serious. But one day he was doing some mathematical solution, and one student raised the hand and said, through some kind of question about the math. And this teacher, he was not able to solve that question. And somehow that broke something in his heart. From that next morning, he just could not get up from the bed. He went into deep depression because his identity was
so tied up in his
solely
career. Right.
Yeah, so that's how he lost his confidence. But now, after leading somebody to Christ, he gained the confidence.
Wow.
See, we can contribute in many ways to the world.
Right.
But most profound, meaningful contribution humankind could give to another person is what? Helping the person's eternal destiny.
That's totally right. Yes.
This is most fulfilling, most profound,
the best gift you can give to others.
Best impact, the biggest change you can.
That's right.
Contribute. And he did it, and he gained suddenly. Wow, me, loser like me,
Right.
could change somebody's eternity.
So the gospel
God could
offers hope for everybody.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think That's what happened to him, I think. And then he suddenly gained the confidence. And guess what happened after that? See, he was off from the work for 3 years.
For 3 years. Because of his
disability to teach.
Right.
And school, it's public school, so they don't fire instantly. They let them rest like a couple years with payment. But after 3 years of resting, the school principal came and said, Mister, you have to think. You need to think about submitting the resignation.
Right.
So those period of time, this change happened. And he's completely recovered, and he went back to school and started teaching math again.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
So in a materialistic society, and I know that Japan is known for being very advanced, very developed country, and it almost seemed impossible for anybody to be changed by the gospel. But from your personal experience, would you say that there is still power in the gospel to change even the hardest of heart and people who seemingly were without hope?
Yeah. You know, loneliest person you can find could be found in big city. A lot of people.
That's a good point. Yes.
A lot of people, but they feel so isolated.
Yes.
Ironically.
So they're in a big crowd, but they feel very lonely inside.
Same effect can happen when you're surrounded with so many materials, but yet still feel so
feeling
empty. So empty. So many Japanese are that way. Yeah, many Japanese people feel lonely and unfulfilled. They save a lot of money, but still insecure. So actually, I'm very optimistic about mission in Japan because I see so many hungry, lonely, empty people. They know it, but until they were exposed to real things, most fulfilling, most satisfying, most rational, and that's the gospel.
Right.
It explains you where you come from, why you are here, where you're going. Those three fundamental questions human beings always wrestling with. Answers are found in the Bible.
Right.
Most understandable, rational way. So that speaks to Japanese. I believe so. And I have seen many academics, intelligent Japanese people coming to know Christ through EE ministry.
Amazing. That's been very inspiring conversation. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So to end our session today, can you please give some words of encouragement and advice for the young people of today on why they should do their parts in advancing the gospel of the kingdom of God?
Yes. Well, to young people, culture, trends, those things change. So we see, not today's people only, but people in the past also said, well, personal evangelism, gospel presentation, it won't work. It won't work in present day, in this trend, in this culture. No, gospel is universal. Gospel speaks to any people. Gospel means something a lot to any people, any generation. So I hope you do not flirt around and after two.
Right.
I say stick with something you feel most comfortable.
I see.
Best evangelism tool is the one you use.
Yes, I agree with that. That's a very good point.
I recommend the EE. If not, look for something else then.
But use it.
Do it.
Yes.
And you will be contributing to somebody's life. Think this way. You can be influenced to the world very, very shallow level. Like some people wants to be entertainers, famous singers, or famous writer, or creator, engineer. Those are wonderful things. Do it, but most profound impact is changing, helping the person's destiny. You can be spending rest of your life that would impact very shallow, surface, superficial. But think compare this, changing thousands of people's life temporarily, and compare with this, changing one person's eternity.
Wow.
That's two big options. I thought about it when I was in college. I wanted to be a journalist, but I knew it will not change destiny.
Right.
It will change temporarily, but I found something else. Something that I can change somebody's life forever, eternity. That is to share the gospel, to be part
Awesome.
of, to be the part of God's ministry. And I'm so glad I made that decision.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's been very inspiring. Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you very
time,
much.
Pastor Tomo.
Yes.
So this is Pastor Tomo Yamanaka.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
you.